History Night. Hey, everybody. Hey, Rosette. Man, I'm so happy to be doing this. My God, we haven't had a show in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Like, basically because our DJ is very hard working and sought after. You've been doing like some parties and stuff, right?
Yes, I have.
Yeah? Yeah? Like what? Like what were the events?
Well, just normal home parties,
Mm-hmm.
a wedding, couple
Mhm.
weddings.
So-
A lot of different stuff.
Yeah, I forgot my holder for my iPad. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody on Facebook. But wow, well, there has just been so much going on, man. So we had the discussion come up the other night that Ben Affleck is directing an adaptation of King Leopold's Ghost.
First off,
Yeah.
this is Global History Night
I
with
said that.
Anna Berg, but I don't
Yeah.
remember you saying
I
it.
did. I said it's Global History Night.
But I mean, you
Hannah
gotta
wrote.
say it.
Okay.
I don't like it's Global History Night.
Okay. Branded. Branding. Global History Night. This is when we talk about history. Leave it. So far as the stuff that we are interested in. I've been, oh God, and like, okay, the U.S. politics, oh man, Uncle Joe's doing bad.
Uh-oh.
He's just losing his fucking temper with people. Did you see? So today, he was in Iowa, and an 83-year-old man was telling Joe that like he's too old, and said something about his son, Hunter Biden. Remember, like I have like a minor iota of Hunter Biden in me. See, I'm like the Hunter Biden of my family. I'm like the Tiffany Trump of the Trumps.
Uh-oh.
So,
Uh-oh.
yeah. Just like way watered down. Like my family's like, well, nobody's family is normal, but oh man, fucking Hunter Biden. Okay, anyway, well, I'm going off in a couple different directions, but the whole thing, I mean, the reason that one of the concerns about Biden is whether he could keep his cool with Trump. I mean, like, whatever, he already hasn't. So he like offered to a damn liar.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, you're talking to fucking voters, dude. I mean...
Well, I get it. But, I mean, come on now. Trump does some crazy stuff, too. There's nowhere. Just because he's calling him a liar, I love it. I think it's funny.
No, we need... But, okay, now this now happens everywhere. Not make Trump the standard, okay? That even happens... Okay, like, everybody should check out Mehdi Hassan, my guy on Al Jazeera, who's just so hard on people in a really smart way, and he's kind of like funny, but always remains professional and polite. So I definitely follow him about, well, anything where people need to be countered. But anyway, okay, back to Uncle Joe. Like, okay, it wasn't, the guy wasn't even, well, first he said, like, somebody saying, I was 83, and he was saying, like, I know I don't have the stamina I once did. And I mean, Uncle Joe should have commiserate with him man to man. So I'm just like, fuck, fuck him, and fuck Burn Dog, but most of all, fuck MP. Okay, so that's what I'm calling Mayor Pete Buttigieg. And so one of the issues that's been happening in my corner of the world is some of us dealing with the expectation that we support and be excited about Pete Buttigieg because he's gay. And I don't give a, the whole point of freedom is being able to choose who you choose and be evaluated on your qualifications. And I need qualifications, and he's not qualified, and really arrogant, and he didn't even come out as gay until as elected mayor in his little town. So that's really fucked up, and that is a big thing. And it's weird. People come out at all ages, and wherever you are in your path is valid. But if you come out, you can't. He hasn't lived the gay. He didn't live the gay experience like a lot of people have since their whole lives. So I mean, he's really clueless, and completely doesn't have a grasp of race, and he doesn't understand that he doesn't understand. And so the discussion that some of us are having, is like, okay, I don't care that he's gay. If I don't care that this person's gay, especially since he can't connect with like 40% of the and it matters. That matters to me. And so so some of us have been talking about that on Facebook. I try not to get too into that, but it just really, I'm mad that Kamala Harris needed to step down at the time that she did. I don't think she's ready to be president. She wouldn't have been my first choice, but her voice and her leadership is really important. And a whole lot of people have just been hedging, and fucking Michael Bloomberg, we had another billionaire enter the race, and it's just it's just so incredibly fucked up. It makes me want to throw rocks at his building. Like, okay, you think because you're a little bit liberal that it's okay for you to buy the presidency like Trump bought the presidency. And if somebody like that, Bloomberg just sunk this insane amount of money into his own campaign, whereas if he could have put that, contribute to the efforts to allay voter suppression in South Carolina. And it's just this idea, this narcissism that of automatically thinking like, oh, I'm the person to solve this problem. Askari.
What's up,
Askari? Yeah, Askari is somebody I very much look up to and love. Okay, so we're talking about the narcissism of, like somebody like Buttigieg, he talks like he has these great qualifications, because he has the millennial perspective and stuff. Like, go out and get other millennials to vote. Put yourself behind somebody, shit, I wouldn't even care, align yourself behind Burn Dog or something, he was a fan of I just contributed to Cory Booker and Julian Castro today, like $3 each, and I don't really know what the formula is, but it's just anything to get on the debate stage. But it's the issue of like, okay, even if you have small donors, it's good just to have as many as possible. Like, we need to hear from these people. Like, basically the Democratic stage at the next debate is going to be whiter than the Republican one was at this stage. And okay, so a discussion that we were having the other night was, okay, there's people that are saying that, that were saying at the very beginning, like, okay, if Trump wins, I'll leave the country. And to me, that's something you can do if you have money. But you were saying you thought that even if people had money, it would be more, okay, like it would be more.
Because there was people saying that before. Yeah. I remember there was like all kinds of actors and sports people like, if he becomes president, we're leaving the country. Yeah. But none of them left, so.
Yeah.
Well, I even heard, you know who else said it? I remember Whoopi Goldberg said it too. I know it's funny, but she said it. I think Danny Glover or someone else like that said it.
She wouldn't do that. She has to be here like duking it out on TV.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Some of these people are just
yeah, well, I know people that were saying that. But okay, so that has been going on. And
I got a question for you before you get off of that subject.
Okay.
If you had the money, would you have left if Trump became president?
Huh?
Would you have left? Like, would you leave?
No, I have the money. I mean, I could leave if I wanted to. Well, shit. Okay. Well, this kind of goes into. I mean, I could leave the country if I wanted to. Okay. I mean, as somebody in this society, obviously, I'm not like loaded, I just feel like people like me, like white people with enough money should stick around and try and make things better and not leave. So no, somebody without kids, no, I wouldn't. And I mean, anybody else, yeah, man. I mean, I know lots of like black people that want African Americans that want to leave the country, and I'd just be like, any of my friends or anyone, I'd just be like, yeah, man, I'd just be like, love you, man. God bless. I mean, I was talking to my friend, my brother Hakeem Brown, who's like here duking it out or like dealing with the fucking city council and dealing with just the thing and racism from white progressives, like the people that you're supposedly working with and for are also like against in some respects, besides the people that are obviously against him. So yeah, he was talking about moving to Ghana, and it like he's Hakeem, he's here, man. He is here he's sticking around. But okay, so anyway, no, I wouldn't. And that kind of slides into another disagreement. Well, okay, so one of the things I've talked about on this show is the Israeli-Palestinian issue, and I've talked about how and I'm Jewish, but I'm not Jewish. I'm like of Jewish descent. I'm a Christian. I was born again, man. I love Jesus Christ, and I don't relate to a whole lot of stuff about nobody from my biological families listen to this, but I just have to say it. The fucking Old Testament doesn't talk about love and forgiveness, and I mean I need that, and I know people talk about needing to. One of the pastor was talking about accepting the Old Testament, but I'm like, fine, okay, down the road. But I never. Okay, well that's another thing I could talk about. I never even read the New Testament until this year, for anybody that knows me, like, and it was something I always meant to do as, I mean, I'm an educated, well-read person. And one of the things you're trying to do is like read primary sources, and the Bible is a primary source. You know, and that is why you read classics, and you know, whatever, however, they are. So anyway, so well, that is one of. Anyway, the New Testament's cool, but okay, so. No, I'm really like we're still talking about leaving America. Okay, we are. So anyway, Jews can move to the state of Israel and get citizenship. Anyone. I mean, if you're Jewish, and it's called making. I mean, for people, it is like a pilgrimage sort of thing. It's called making Aliyah. And you can go there, and you have to be in the army. So we've talked about my niece who's gone to law school, and you know, she spent time traveling in Israel before, and she wants to do that. And and again, I mean, I would never be like, you know, like with my family, you know, and I would never argue. I would argue about other things with my family, but not politics ever. Not this. I mean, put it that way. You know, I mean, I love her, whatever she wants to. You know, I mean, it's not it's my job is just to love. It's not my business what she decides to do with her life. But my brother was back to find the paperwork from Madeline, my niece's mom's conversion, because that was why she converted to Judaism. That is the reason. I mean, my brother fucking married a PK, man. My ex-sister-in-law is a minister's daughter. So, but she converted to Judaism to marry my brother, and the reason for that is this. You know, somebody according to the Jews, to the traditional Jews, someone isn't Jewish unless their mom is. And if you want to be Jewish, you have to do this whole like ceremony and studying thing, which my sister-in-law did, because in order to marry my brother, apparently, and this would be the reason. So, and it just bugs me. It's just wrong to me that anybody's biology or DNA or whatever or blood makes thing. I mean, we should be. I always felt like, okay, there's all these rules and things that are expected of me as part of a Jewish family that didn't mean anything to me, that didn't feel real or connected to my own life. I mean, religion, your relationship with the divine, whatever that's going to be, you have to find it yourself. And I did not get that. And my parents somehow were old school enough so that I was raised. This wasn't like in a really traditional place. Like, I went to school and things were dumbed down for the girls, and I didn't participate in stuff. You know, so it's like, why the fuck do I want to belong to a religion where the women all need to sit somewhere else? And there's modified versions of it, but since because I'll get that attitude from people like, oh yeah, you know, there's like there's like places where women get to do stuff, but you know, I mean, I don't have any emotional attachment because my early childhood was just, you know. So anyway, Israel has inhumane politics toward refugees and immigration. Like, basically, I mean, if you're from Eritrea or Sudan escaping post military service, you can't get citizenship, but my niece can. So, and I think it's wrong, but you know, so just this idea of, I mean, there's a tour that she went on that young Jewish adults take called Birthright. You know, they really believe that this land is theirs. You know, so no, I do not believe that. I do not believe that anything is mine. I don't believe that I have a birthright to anything. I don't think anyone does. But so that'll be, you know, I'll see her when hopefully she'll come home to visit. I don't really have any desire to go visit her. So I've been watching a lot of documentaries and stuff about that issue. You know, I mean, obviously it's something that was really important to my family that I grew up with certain ideas about and then didn't think about for a long time. And now I am more in the context of a historian and somebody that's interested in global politics. So, okay, so there are some really interesting global political stuff going on. There's still protests in Hong Kong, and that has been going on for about 6 months. There's been students blockaded in a university, and the issue is whether China is going to be able to take more control over Hong Kong. And people of Hong Kong don't want that, which is like fucking understandable. Whoa, man, this is like a week or the past couple months of kind of horrible stuff about China. First, I've been following issues about the Uyghurs. Okay, these are Muslims that are in concentration camps, tortured, have had their kids stolen from them. There's about 1 million of them that are locked up in China now. And this is all happening now. So, you know, that is my other issue with some of the Middle Eastern politics. Like, you know, I care more. Like, we need I had that discussion. So, okay, so there's the Uyghurs, and to my astonishment, the United States Congress just issued a declaration or a resolution condemning the China government's treatment of the Uyghurs. So if anybody, this is spelled Uighers. So if you see that, I know how it's pronounced because I've watched news segments about them. But for a long time, I just saw the name and did not know who they were. So they are ethnic Chinese who are Muslim. And like, okay, there you go. So far as the whole like thing of like what determines who you are. I mean, you know, that's endless. Okay, so see that was okay. Well, anyway, that was I didn't think that was kind of interesting. I guess it's part of Trump's trade war with China. I'm astonished. The U.S. usually never says anything about China's human rights abuses, and seriously, anybody to give a shit about the Uyghurs. And you know, I think it's Jesus. I was trying to think about what would be the motivation. Okay, well, who was advocating this? Because anyone in the United States to lobby about it. There's going to be, if something's going on, I mean, there's a lobby of Chinese Americans, but they wouldn't be, you know, they wouldn't be really aligning themselves behind that. So I mean, I was happy. I was pleased to see something happen. But okay, so I also watched a film over the past couple weeks called One Child Nation. Did you remember that? It's about the one child law in China that went into effect in 1978 and was they got rid of it in 2011. So people were only allowed to have one child. And it's so, I mean, I knew that's why so many people have adopted Chinese daughters. You see that like definitely in certain communities. A whole lot of people have like white people have Asian daughters, and a lot of them were adopted from China because it's such a male-dominated society. People wanted, people just have the thing they want guys, they want boys. So there was just some really horrible stories. People were recounting their experiences, and one guy talked about leaving his baby daughter in the marketplace. He just left her there, and they watched, and nobody would even take her. This baby just lay in the marketplace for 2 days until she died. Yeah, and one of the people interviewed was a midwife. I don't even know what she was. I don't know how much of a medical professional was, but she was part of like a abortion squad. She estimated that she had aborted like 50 to 60,000. She'd done 50 or 60,000 abortions in 20 years. They would they would like forcibly give women abortions, and they're doing that to the Uyghurs too, women. So it's on that. It's a fucking intense documentary, and they throw babies. Well, one of the things they did is they fucking filmed. There was footage of garbage piles with fetuses, like full grown fetuses, practically. And one of the issues was. Okay, so the woman that filmed it was Chinese. She lives in the U.S. She was born in China. She's in her 30s, and she lived in a rural area. So she had a younger brother. People in rural areas were allowed, if they had a girl, they were allowed to try for another kid. They were allowed to try for a boy. And so she had a younger brother, and the parents had told the younger brother, if you were a girl, we were going to leave you in the marketplace.
Wow.
So, I don't know, but she says they were a happy family. So she had a baby, and so she got interested in this issue, and when she had a baby, so she was going back, and I mean, it was really pretty astounding filmmaking. She really got people to open up. I mean, she talked to a guy that was a like town council, village elder type people, and they would get orders from higher up, and so this guy was part of a group that would just take people's babies, and it was just this constant, like get women for the forcible abortions, and he just said, they basically all said this, we didn't have a choice. And the reason they did it was because overpopulation was such a problem that people were starving to death. So some of the people that were interviewed would say, like, well, this had to happen, we all would have died. And so there's people that remember what it was like before. So they also showed a lot of the propaganda films, different ones, like showing about how great it was to have just one child, and now there's propaganda showing that it's good to have two. And okay, but so I remember this happening when this happened. I mean, I was about 10, and when those laws were passed in China, and I remember when I was a little older, when somehow people realized that there was a ton of money from international adoption, and so they opened up so what happened was the government got into it. So the government would be not only like taking people's baby girls and placing them, they'd place them in the orphanage, but people who wanted to adopt girls from the orphanages needed to pay the government. So they were making money off stealing people's babies.
Wow.
Yeah. It was interesting because they kept saying baby over and over when they could have just said girl. So it was an interesting thing because I kept waiting for them to say baby, the baby. They kept baby. Like, okay, it was a girl because only girls were being thrown away. So now, there's all sorts of problems. I mean, there's like a huge number of guys, of men now that can't find anyone to date or go out with. So it led to problems of women being trafficked into China. It was very interesting. She was a really good interviewer. She really got people going. So, okay, there's Victoria. So this is our new stream. We're on YouTube now.
Yes.
It's very, very exciting. Do you think we'll ever go back to Radio for the World?
Yeah, we will.
We will?
I think we will.
Okay. It's somehow like,
yeah. Yeah, I got a laptop. Well, you can't see the monitor, but
yeah.
I'm gonna have to set that up, and me and him are gonna work on getting it going.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm gonna still have access to both.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Yeah.
Maybe I might, if I can set it up, I might set it up to where we can be both at the same time.
Oh, we should definitely get a couple going.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That is really cool. Okay, so basically, I have been learning a lot about how badly people are treated in China, and so now, I mean, condemning the camps is just because of the trade war. That's the only reason the U.S. is doing anything about it. I mean, the Uyghurs have like nobody to advocate from them. I mean, there is a lobby they're just in a kind of a weird space so far as not having people. There's not a diaspora of them elsewhere to be lobbying for them. The U.S. Embassy. Okay, I'm about to take a break, everybody, and go get the next pieces of material. Do you want to just put some music on?
Oh, you want me to put it on? You don't have any music there?
Well, I do, but.
Alrighty. I will bring something